All right, here we are. It's been a little bit longer than I was expecting to get to my next Don Bluth movie. And this is the next chronologically in order. There was a 4-year gap between um, the previously viewed The Secret of Nim and this An American Tale, 1986. Um, yeah, I just didn't have access to this for a while, and then when I finally did, this is October, and I'm doing my best to watch a lot of horror, and I'm still doing it. It's more like I'm going through the motions, though. I haven't really enjoyed it. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to break that up and just, I don't know, get in front of the camera and watch something different. Just doing this one by myself like before, which I'm fine with. I have no idea. I didn't really give any notice. I kind of decided to do this just this evening. So I didn't put any feelers out about anybody watching, but we'll see what happens as we go. So I don't want to repeat too much stuff that I already said in the last one about The Secret of Nim, but there's obviously things that I said there, and just about the state of Western animation, and of course Don Bluth's impact on it, having been an animator for Disney throughout the 70s, and then leading a sort of exodus at the end of the decade, taking up some of the younger animators with him to strike out on his own, to start his own studio. He was somewhat disillusioned with the direction Disney was going in. And he would eventually, I've talked about how in the 80s, and again, you can see some other stuff like the movie discussion pocket dimension episode that Jay and I did on the Disney film from 1985, the Black Cauldron, which was kind of a low point for Disney financially and possibly creatively. And that preceded this just by about a year. That was 85. And this, so I talked about how Bluth Studio would eventually rise and become sort of Disney's first real competition when it came to full-length feature animation. And this is the best example of course. I think that Secret of Nim was quite well received, but this is the movie that was really, really popular, and it was actually the highest grossing animated film up to that point, much to Disney's horror, especially since they were coming, as we said, coming off a low point with Black Cauldron in a few years. This movie came out in theaters in 86. I think just a few months after The Great Mouse Detective, Disney's own animated movie featuring mice as the main characters, and this did better than that. So you could really say that Disney was taking this quite seriously, and this helped spark the turnaround that would become the Disney Renaissance that would start in the latter stages of the decade. Now, this is one I always love. My favorite will always be the very first one. And I always pause because I can never remember Secret of Nim. I love it. I know this one had the bigger impact on pop culture. You always see references to it and things like that. I watch Community, and there's a whole thing about it on that. I watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and there's a thing about it. Other things too. Like, so obviously for a certain generation of people, like, this movie was a big deal. I don't know. I didn't really see it back in the day. The one that came after this, the Land Before Time, and obviously it would appeal to me more anyway because of my love for dinosaurs, was really the one that I remember as a kid. I think it's not the first movie I saw in theater. The first movie I saw in theater was in 87. I saw a reissue of Bambi. And then I think the year after that, when Land Before Time, I think Land Before Time was the first like new movie I saw in theater. And I can remember seeing it again a couple years later when I was in school. I was in like grade 1, I think. And it was one of those days where nothing was getting done at the school. I don't know what happened. And I remember what was weird about it was like, again, all people of a certain age, I don't know what the hell they do nowadays, but can remember those days, at least in elementary school, where for some reason the teacher was going to just show a movie, and they would wheel the big TV in on the cart there and get it hooked up and stuff. And I experienced that several times. But for whatever reason with Land Before Time, we didn't watch it in the classroom. We went out in the hall. And my elementary was an old building. It's gone now. It's called Colby, and it's been demolished for years. But it was an old building built in 1940. It had big, wide hallways. Like, it's not hallways like you're thinking. It was a big, wide, open hallway with lots of space. And we went out there and watched. It's possible because maybe my class watched it with one or two other classes combined, and there was more space. We all just sort of sat on the floor. I don't know. It seemed sort of like a fire hazard blocking the hallway, but I don't know. So anyway, I remember watching the movie again and really loving it. It's always been the one after Secret of Nim, which I watched a few years later, that's really had the impact on me. Whereas American Tail, I don't even remember when I first saw it, and I don't think I really cared about it when I first saw it. I did see it as a kid, probably not a really young kid like the other ones, but as a kid, and I don't know. I don't think I thought very much of it or cared. And over the years, I think I've seen bits of it. It's one of those movies that does get played on TV a lot, and I'll watch parts of it. But this will be my first time viewing it like start to finish in a long, long time. So we'll see how that goes. Not much else to say about it. Dom DeLuise, of course, is along for the ride again. Christopher Plummer's in there, whom I love. And of course, another thing that helped get this movie going is this was a collaboration between Bluth and Steven Spielberg. This is Spielberg's first foray into animation, which he would have sort of a little love affair with in the late 80s, early 90s. Animaniacs, Tiny Toons, things like that. This is the first, and it went extremely well. And I mean, it is a good movie, and Bluth was putting out good stuff, although, as I've talked about, I really think the Bluth's quality went off a cliff in the 90s. But it sort of speaks to Spielberg's own golden touch at the time. You know, everything Spielberg did at around this time was super successful. So are we really surprised that this was too? So yeah, so this is a movie. It sort of is like the story of America, as people talk about, or like, you know, the first half of the 20th century or the second half of the 19th century, the American dream. So these are about Jewish Russians who flee their homeland from persecution to come here to a land, you know, and they use some phrases that parallel real life phrases. Like they talk about how the streets are paved with cheese and the streets are paved with gold and things like that. But it's very much about the idea of the American dream, which a lot of movies talk about. And there's all sorts of different angles on the American dream, whether it actually is achievable, whether it is real, whether it's not just a lie, whether it's only achievable for certain people and not others, et cetera, et cetera. And this movie, I guess, has a somewhat optimistic take on it, but it is full of, I guess the other thing that people remember of this movie is like, I guess things more or less work out in the end, but it's one of those earn your happy ending type movies. It's full of sad, sad moments. So I think that's another thing that struck a chord with a lot of people. They can just remember as kids watching this movie and being totally bummed out or sad or moved by some of these sad scenes. So yeah, I get it. I get it from that perspective too. So, but I think that Spielberg also, did Spielberg work on The Land Behind Time? I don't know, but obviously he was a big part of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which is sort of a movie that doesn't get talked about enough in the Disney Renaissance, because technically that wasn't a fully Disney movie, but anyway. So we might as well get going here. But yeah, this was basically a surprise hit at the time in '86 and really shook things up at Disney and forced them to kind of get their act together. This, of course, has a sequel called Fievel Goes West, which a lot of people who are fans of this movie consider highly inferior. And I can understand why, because it's another movie where I don't even know if I've ever seen that all the way through. But again, pop up on TV here and there, and I'd seen scenes. It's a pretty sad farewell for legendary actor Jimmy Stewart. His role in that movie is stupid as hell. But anyway, there's not much else to say, so we'll get going here. And I'm not really sure I'm going to have to say as we go. I've got it queued up. It's going to go right into the logo. So I'll do a countdown. Nobody's watching now, but if you're watching like some point later, if you want to do this, we'll do 3, 2, 1. Ignition. And I'll have to work probably on my volume here so it's not too loud or distracting or gets me in trouble with YouTube or however the fuck this works. Universal and MCA Company. That's the first thing that comes up for me is that logo. So let's see. Fievel Goes West. No, not Fievel Goes West. Although he is going west. He goes west. Technically, you could call the other one Fievel Goes West again, because I mean he's going west. He's going from Russia to America. That's a pretty far journey west. But anyway, we'll start here with snowflakes. Yeah, Steven Spielberg presents first thing to come up. So that would, yeah, give a lot of clout. I don't actually know the story behind how Bluth got hooked up with him. An American Tale with an I. Get it? Me neither. Dom DeLuise plays a character named Tiger, who I can't remember if it's a cat or a dog or what. But as usual, Dom DeLuise is super annoying. Like, even in the good movies, like, Dom DeLuise is dragging everything down. I mean, I have no problem with having some comedic relief And I'm not saying Domino Louise has never been funny, but it's just so hacky in these movies. And I get it, they're for fairly young children. A nice score composed by James Horner. Worth bringing up. James Horner, very accomplished composer. A lot of great movie soundtracks. And I guess the songs are another reason why this movie is remembered. It's funny, I just complimented it, and yet none of the songs have meant that much to me historically. But we shall see. Maybe something will get rekindled. Who knows? Nice opening here on a snowy mouse town in Russia. Not exactly sure when this is supposed to be. It's like the end of the 19th century, start of the 20th, I guess, somewhere around there. Maybe it's the 1890s. Something like that. Just around the time where like immigration from Europe really was starting to explode into America, and this is where America, its population would really start to grow, particularly in big cities like New York. This is around the time, throughout all the 1800s, London was the biggest city in the world, and it would hold on to that for a little while longer, but because of stuff like this, New York would eventually surpass it. Now, of course, yeah, I remember I used to look up like largest city by population, like historically, and there's been so many over the years going back like to the ancient world, and some will really surprise you. But once you get closer to the modern age, it evens out. It's just like it's like 19th century London, 20th century, New York City, 21st century Tokyo. All right, the Mouskowitz family. Okay, it's 1885. There you go. So about a decade before I said Shatska, Russia, 1885. And it's Hanukkah, which I think is a cool thing too, because probably I don't know how many animated movies or even little shorts had shown much Hanukkah stuff. We've seen all sorts of Christmas stuff. So I'm sure that's another reason why it might have resonated with Spielberg. But, we get a typical close, loving family. Babushka, full of Jewish terms. But we haven't gotten there yet. But I said I actually don't think Dom DeLuise's character is the most annoying in the movie. We will get to him when we get to him. And one thing I will say about Fievel is like usually when you have like, especially in animated movies, but anything that sort of like features a kid, like it's like Fievel's going to be annoying. Fievel's really not that annoying. He's fine. Like he has his quirks and things that a little kid would have, but it's not that bad. Okay, yeah. So he gets the hat that's too big for him, right? Which he wears throughout the movie. His dad's hat. The giant mouse of Minsk. I wonder if that's like some sort of like parallel to like the golem in Jewish folklore. I don't know. Golem. Minsk is in Belarus, by the way. Yeah, I don't remember any of this. It's been forever since I've seen the beginning of this movie. But I know it moves along fairly quickly. It's a short movie, fast pace. And now they're going to talk about America. Talking about America, like a land of plenty, a land of milk and honey. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, which I mean were pretty novel concepts back when the U.S. was founded over 100 years before this movie. Oh, there's a baby too. Yeah, so there are humans in the movie, although obviously they do not play a main role, but we got a raid on the village here. Cossacks, Bolsheviks, I don't know. My Russian history doesn't go back quite this far as having a good grip of what's going on. In about 20 years, yeah. But obviously what's happening to the humans, again, parallels with the mouse population. And of course, while they're being attacked by these people, they're being attacked by cats. Cats with those cool fur hats on. The cats are very bloodthirsty in this. That's the other thing about making so many animated movies where, like, mice are the main characters. You're constantly, like, demonizing the cats. The cats in this are so evil. And again, think about obviously in How come every time I have to think to say Secret of Nim? And Secret of Nim, of course, there's the cat named Dragon. It was very kind of like a monster. The cat is named Lucifer and very monstrous, attacking the mice in Cinderella. Long tradition. I mean, at least Disney evened it out somewhat by having a movie about cats, in 1970, The Aristocats, which is a fun little movie where it shows cats to be what they're like in real life, where they're like more cute, kittens and stuff. But in this, the cats are the antagonists. They're the predators, the hunters of the mice. So they're villains. So there's some comedic slapstick stuff while they escape the cat attack. Fievel's already separated from his family, but I know what happens on the boat. It doesn't happen here. So they survive. Through it all, Fievel somehow kept on that hat that's too big for him. Yeah, your home is trashed. How many times did they say America in this movie? In America, there are no cats. Now that is quite the naive belief. But again, it's 1885. America's a far, far away place. There's no internet, 24-hour news cycle. I get it. It's a lot easier to not know things back then, the world being much less connected. So now they've gone to Hamburg, Germany to catch almost said flight, but catch a boat across the ocean. Just the ocean, stupid. Move it. Just the greatest force of nature you could ever fathom. The SS Lance, I couldn't read it. See, he does have the annoying tendency of asking a lot of questions, but again, I can't single Fievel out for that. That's like kids. And even though kids can be annoying when they ask questions, I mean, often, it's a sign of some intelligence. They've got a curious mind. If you had a little kid growing up and they never asked any questions, you might worry about them a little bit. They don't show any curiosity about the world around them. Of course, all kids can get in that phase where they love to just say why to everything. You answer them and they say why, and then you answer them, I don't have any kids, so I'm mainly been able to avoid this. And as is customary in those days, you always got a big crowd waving off. Seagull has a hat. I'm not sure, was that supposed to be funny? Not exactly great humor. So yeah, once again, the mice and the humans are on the same sort of boat. They're poor. They're wretched. They're hoping for a new start, a better life in this faraway place. They've only heard stories about. No, and now he's doing the "Are you there yet?" thing. Ugh, man. But again, can't single Fievel out for this because that's just a classic kid thing. His dad's got a violin. Herring for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Kind of bold on Bluth's part to follow up his movie about mice with another one about mice. And I can't remember which one he pitched, but he pitched one of these to Disney back in, before he left in the late 70s. And they said, we're not doing another mouse movie. We just did The Rescuers. But I mean, Disney themselves, less than a decade later, did A Great Mouse Detective. That's just always been a really popular point of view for animated movies. Seems too loud, doesn't it? Turn it down again. Wow, fish on a boat. That's exciting. Oh, they're going to sing a song about there's no fish, right? Or not no fish, no cats. No cats on the boat. So now they're going to sing a song about how there's no cats in America. And there's his dad spreading lies. Well, misinformation, I guess. His dad seems to really believe it. So we got our first song, which I think is just called like No Cats in America or something. Check on this. Yeah, there are no cats in America. There are 4 sort of main songs in here with and of course it's the 3rd song that is best remembered. But we'll wait till we get there. Streets are paved with cheese. You're all deluding yourselves, you fools. Here comes an Italian stereotype. Again, I'm not sure what the political situation was like in Italy at the time. I need a few more decades to sort that out. Things would get very bad. But Italy just has a long, bloody history compared to even a lot of countries. Even in like the 80s, Italy was like secretly being run by a shadow government. I mean, that's within a lot of people's lifetimes. That's not like forever ago. I mean, it wasn't the same as like, being under Benito Mussolini. But and everybody, of course, thinks of all the stuff that went on in Italy during like the Renaissance, all the backstabbing and stuff with the popes and everything. But anyway, let's move on. Is this guy Irish? I think he's Irish. He's wearing green. When was your potato famine, Ireland? I don't remember. But we get it. All these wretched European countries have cat problems. But luckily, they'll go to the U.S. where there are no cats. Haha. Yep, Ireland. Some of the Russian style dancing I used to do when I was a kid because it wasn't Russian dancing, it was Ukrainian dancing, but obviously very similar. It's the only time I ever did any dancing in my life. I'm not a dancer. It's one of the many. I'm a very complex person. It's one of the many. What's the word I'm looking for? Contradictions about me because I consider myself a free spirit in many ways, but I'm a free spirit who doesn't dance. Many have tried to get me, including some pretty girls, and it's just not my thing. And of course, we have to have our mandatory really bad weather for the crossing. Some sort of interesting version of speed chess based on the tilting of the boat. I feel for them though, man. I don't like boats. And I'd hate to be like in the, down in the cargo hold of some 19th century steamer. Ugh, it would suck. I don't even want to be on like a great luxury boat in the modern world. Oh man, there's holes in that guy's socks. They got it tough. I don't know what's going to happen here. I know eventually he's going to get like knocked overboard and his family's going to think he's dead. Then we're going to have a whole bunch of near misses where like he's looking for his family. They're not looking for him because he's dead, but where they almost run into each other and they keep missing each other. Uh-oh. Does that happen right here? Riding a bar of soap? Thundering and lightning match. Normally, I like to offer timestamps, but I'm watching this on Crave, and I've had it act up on me lately. So I'm afraid even if I like pause it for a second to look and unpause it, it might like freeze or do a delay. So I'm reluctant to do that. So I probably won't offer timestamps in the movie, but I'm trying to tell you about where we are. This is what's going to happen. His father finds him, but he's going to rush off to find his hat, which got blown away by the wind. The hat's going to be what costs him, right? The hat doesn't matter, you fool. So close and yet so far. He's got the sleeve tail. Oh, so this is the beginning of like a series of unfortunate events. Once again, the hat is somehow staying on his head there. Way up in the rigging. They are making this dramatic, aren't they? Okay, like Neptune, god of the sea, has just made an appearance. I didn't remember that. And he's angry, very angry with this boat. He wants to punish these travelers for their hubris, although I'm not really sure why. He's just a dick. Or maybe he just has it all out for Fievel. It's not the people. It's just that one little mouse. But down he goes. Shit, how does he survive this? Like, aren't they still like in the middle of the ocean? Let's find out. I mean, now he's down in... That's one of my worst fears ever, to like fall overboard in the cold northern Atlantic. Ugh. At night. Night makes it even worse, of course. Sometimes you hear stories, even nowadays, of like people that get knocked overboard and they get rescued, but after spending something like 30 some hours on the water, clinging to like a life preserver, life raft, or whatever. Man, that would be awful. So the boat makes it to New York. And Fievel's family has to move on, believing he's dead. So here they are changing the names. I don't know if this happened as much as they make it seem. Like everybody came and they just changed their names. Yeah. Because they're like, this is Schlovsky. And they're like, okay, Mr. Smith. Is he in the bottle? We didn't show him. No, it's too. I'm gonna shut up and watch and see what happens. I'm riveted by this bottle thing. All right, so now they're setting to music the thing that's your poor huddled masses yearning to be free. The thing that's written by the Statue of Liberty. Your teeming shore. A lot of Americans don't seem to believe in that anymore. They seem to have a very anti-immigration stance, even though this is what made America what it is. A lot can change in 100 years. Yeah, so he is in the bottle somehow. And because he's lucky, he's been washed into the harbor. So obviously they weren't like in the middle of the ocean. They must have been fairly close. You say, how could he fit through a bottle? But it's true, like mice can squeeze themselves through really small holes. So now we have a French pigeon. So here's a question. This is a French pigeon living in the U.S., so he can probably speak English. I guess Fievel's family can all speak English despite being Russians. How did they learn English? I mean, it's pretty useful to arrive, because how many people back in this era who immigrated to the U.S. didn't know any English at the time? But Fievel already speaks English fluently, apparently, so that's a big help. Of course, he's still all by himself, but Henri the pigeon will try to help him. Still pretty good. I mean, it sucks. I mean, the moment he arrived, somebody was here to help him. Oh, never. So Never Say Never is the next song. Do they jump right into it? Wow. I thought we'd have a little more of a break before another song. So is this who Christopher Plummer plays? Okay, no. Henri was... Yeah, it is Plummer. Henri was originally to be voiced by comedian Sid Caesar. It was conceived as a scraggly and worn, but later Plummer was cast the part, and Henri was drawn with a more dignified look. So there you go, Christopher Plummer. Great Canadian actor. Yeah, never say never. And here's the other thing. So sometimes when you have animated movies, whether you're using kids or not, just anybody, I mean, obviously, you sometimes, since it's it's an animation, it's not live action, so sometimes the singing voice is done by a different actor. Hell, they even do it in non-animation, but they don't do it in this movie. The actor that plays Fievel cannot sing, and I guess that makes it more realistic. And it's not like he's a horrible singer, but I don't know. I think I would have preferred a kid that could at least carry a tune. This kid's quite bad. It's not so bad in this, but later it's really bad. There, Henri's pumped him up with his positivity. Finish my statue. So what, are they still building it? I don't know. I mean, I do know, yeah, like when they first got the Statue of Liberty, it was a different color. It looked different. Bonne chance. Oh, the head isn't done yet. But yeah, see, it's like a bronze color. They're still doing the head and the top hand. Very nice art in this movie. Or Christopher Plummer. I mean, he died this year. 1991. Truly great actor. All right. So again, everything that's in the human world, they have too. The humans have immigration and all that office, and same thing here. So here's one of our villainous characters. Warren T. Rath. He has like a insect sidekick. I don't remember this either. No. But obviously I know what he is. He's here to, take advantage of people and screw them out of their money. He's very clearly wearing a fake nose. And I remember why now. There's a reveal about that. But I mean, it's not like they try to hide it. I mean, you think this is some rat who lost his nose. $50 in 1885 being like $100,000. Okay, not quite, but Yeah, of course, Fievel blunders right into him and It's never really made clear if mice and rats get along. He doesn't seem to mind that he's a rat. His family doesn't seem to shun them. Even the smoke he blows is a dollar sign. Ooh, a Shakespeare quote. Not quite. An approximation. That's close. And Fievel, of course, is young and naive, and since the first person he met was nice and helpful, this guy will be nice and helpful too. And they fall into step in doing a walk this way type joke, although they don't actually say walk this way. The hell? And of course, his mother, or not his mother, his sister has some sort of, wow, they have a rather large portrait of him. Did they bring that with them? Anyway, the sister has a connection with Fievel, so she's saying she believes that he's still alive. His family's new home is like a tower or something? I don't know. But we see there in the upper level and down in the lower level is where Fievel is. So here's the beginning of our like near misses. What is this? That ain't your papa. Oh, Jesus. This guy's insane. Look at him drooling and wow. Ah, child labor. Well, I mean, it's 1885. That was going strong, yeah. Pretty much every country had child labor back then. It's not a factory. It's like a sweatshop, I guess. At least give him some on-the-job training. He doesn't even know what he's doing. Some sewing, I guess. They're in the garment business. Bunch of kidnapped orphans. Holy shit. This place needs to be shut down. And now, the worst character in the movie. What is this idiot's name? This mouse with black hair. He's talking about Rapunzel. He's might have something. He's just got that annoying. Okay, his name is Tony Taponi, and he's just the worst. I hate him. I hate him more than any of the Don Bluth characters in any of the other movies. Yeah. So right off, he says, "Fievel, that's your name and heritage? That's gotta go. That's un-American. I'm gonna call you Philly," and which I think is really stupid. And he's saying Philly Mouskowitz. It's like, Mouskowitz? Let's just shorten that to Mouse. Why don't you? He's like, I just hate him. And there were various characters like this that he might be the first that emerged as like a street smart kind of character. You know, they're good guys, but they have like this wisecracking, I know the streets thing. Well, anyway, he leaves. They help him escape, and he's not with him. So it's like, oh, that's good. But don't worry, we'll see him again. I just can't stand that Tony. Now it's really sad. Now he escaped the sweatshop, and now he's just wandering the streets as a waif, and it is very sad. In the movie, when I was talking about like the street smart character, it's like one of them in the Disney movie a couple years later. Oliver and Company. It's actually a dog played by Billy Joel does that, and he's annoying, but not nearly as annoying as the mouse in this. But this reminds me of the opening of that movie is so fucking sad. And again, everything works out, but just the first few minutes is our main character, a kitten named Oliver, who gets abandoned on the streets of New York City, and it's just this montage of him wandering around, and it just makes me want to, I could just cry. And this reminds you a little of it. I'm even more sympathetic to a kitten than a little mouse in clothes. But yeah, that's probably his first train. Into a pile of coal. Still has his hat. You know, it's showing me my connection quality, and it looks like it's shit, so I have no idea how well this might be showing up on YouTube. If it's really bad, I'll delete. We'll just see. Hears some violin, thinks it's his father. Because in a city as big as New York, surely there isn't anybody else that has violin. Still, it's a lead. It's something to go on. Like I said, he's wandering around. You need some hope. So I get it. He's not being stupid. He's trying. Although he seems to just really assume that it's not like that could be dad. It's like, it definitely is dad. Like, no one else in the world has a violin. Oh man, it's not even anybody playing a violin. It's like a phonograph record. Harsh. Oh, and there's that sad face. That is tough, yeah. You get to see the same expression on Littlefoot. Which, of course, again, is sad. I mean, yeah, the first few movies, I mean, both this and like Land Before Time are really, about lost children, losing their family, separated from their family. Oh, it's rough, man. Earn your happy ending indeed. Oh, now he's getting attacked by people. Yeah, and they make it fairly slapstick, but it's also fucking tragic. Hey, shut up out there! Oh, there's some more New York stereotypes for you. What's all the commotion? People yelling at each other through windows in adjacent buildings. That's a big New York thing that they continue to this day, at least if movies and TV are to be believed. Oh, look, and there's that asshole again, Tony. It's like, I can't find my family, but I keep running into you. I just hate everything out of this idiot's mouth. Oh, look how smart he is, getting that cheese from the mousetrap. We get it. We engaged or something? Like, I almost thought he said, what, are you gay or something? Yeah, so here's the one. They go right over his father and sister. It's like, God, just look down, but no. Yeah, you'd be spared a lot of heartache, especially spent. Oh, and all right, and here's like the weird, cute Irish protester mouse that Tony has a crush on. I don't know what's going on. Protest. It's the spirit of America. Peaceful protest. I don't know. Strike breaking was a big deal back then. Is the cat version of the Pinkertons going to come after you? Stop saying cat, for Christ's sake. Again, this is an interesting idea. It's one of the many sort of issues when you take like amorthoprized, I can't say the word, but you know what I mean, animals. But they also live in the human world. Like, why? Oh, this is painful, man. This is also, I can't think of other stuff, but we've seen this trope too, where like some idiot who doesn't really have any beliefs or anything like that just falls in love with a girl that's all about like causes and stuff. So he's just like, sure, I'll go to your protest or whatever. Oh, this is embarrassing. Tony, what's wrong with you? I don't have these hormones yet. I don't understand your weird Twitter patient. Use a Disney term. But she's into it right away. I would like it better if, like, at least, like, he had to earn it a bit more. But she's just like, oh, some random guy ran up and kissed me. That's good. Fuck you, Tony. It's like, you guys are idiots. There's no cats in America. Why would that girl have a meeting about cats if they don't exist? Man, that cat is monstrous. Oh, he actually got like halfway down. You are fucking lucky, Fievel. You've been knocked overboard in a boat crossing the Atlantic. Not only did it not kill you, but you got to the same port your family went to. And now a cat tried to eat you, and you made it halfway down his throat and still escaped. So as much as Fievel has bad luck, he's got a lot of good luck, too. Ugh, every word out of this idiot's mouth. And I'm even more annoyed that the girl likes him. It'd be so much more satisfying if she couldn't stand him or slapped him or something. I mean, I could understand them ending up together at the end, but already she likes him and he's so annoying. Where's Philly? I gotta find Philly. He's practically retarded. I'm just going by the kind of language that a character like Tony would use. Again, it's a different time. It's the 1880s, for God's sake. I like how Fievel's actually excited that there's cats. He's like, "Ah, damn! It was a myth. We thought there were no cats, but there's cats here. There's cats everywhere." And so he's like, "Wow, there are cats! Like, yeah, the thing that almost killed you, ate you alive." Okay, new lead. Yeah, take credit for that, Tony. You fucking idiot. And of course, there's his family reeling from the cat attack, just a few feet away. A grand wake for Mickey O'Hare. Hey, look, it's a drunken Irishman. This movie's super progressive. No, they all pay up to that Warren T. rat. Oh, this drunken Irishman is some sort of political figure, too. Oh, and he's crooked. I see. He's getting people who have died. He's using their names for votes for himself. Which I assume was probably pretty easy to do way back then. This movie is really biting with its commentary. Look at this political corruption. It's like, yeah, America's the land of the free and all that, but it's got problems too. Commentary. Ooh, more commentary, rich and poor. A Wowie? Actually, I really don't know what she is trying to say. Oh, rally. She's trying to say rally. I'm glad that usually when characters have lisps and accents and stuff, I can figure it out, but I really did not know she was trying to say rally. They really lay that on thick, don't they? So yeah, there's a lot of political action going on in this. Rallies and fighting against the oppression of the cats, who are, I guess, are like some sort of. I mean, they're not upper class. What I was trying to say before is one of the problems when you're trying to take a human world, and apply it to animals. It's like, what exactly is the cat mouse relationship? I mean, in real life, of course, mice are prey to cats. Cats eat them. And I mean, if you're a mouse, that's not great, but that's nature. Whereas in this, they take the nature out of it. It's just like the cats are just a bunch of jerks that keep trying to kill us. They don't have any right, damn it. They have no right. And I guess that'd be true if they were, I don't know, people. People don't have the right to kill other people, but they're not all the same, damn it. So I don't know. Am I supposed to see the cats as another race? Or I'm a completely different species? I'm reading way too much into it. I know. The movie's not that complex. So what's going on here? So the girl, whose name I didn't catch, the Irish protester, they even got him some nice pajamas. Or nightgown, or whatever the hell. Is this the song? Because there's a song in the movie that everybody knows. Yeah. So once again, this song's not bad, but this kid cannot sing. I mean, oh. You know, I'd be sympathetic if somebody can't hit high notes, but I mean, he's a little kid. He can hit high. He just can't hit notes, period. He's so off key. The girl can at least carry a tune. So yeah, this is the thing. So somewhere out there on different parts of the city, Fievel and his sister are singing the same song about basically how they could find each other. And it's nice. It is nice, and it's a nice song, but I think it's a little overrated. I don't think it's that good. Seems to have carved out quite the niche for itself in pop culture. Far apart we are. I'm not going to try to sing, even though I could. Because the thing is, these are two kids singing, and I should be singing my own octave, but when something is sung in a high octave, I want my voice, I want to match it. And like, I don't mean I make this decision. I mean, I just unconsciously do that. So it would all be up here somewhere. Nobody wants to hear that. So, I mean, this is nice. The starry sky. But their harmonizing is brutal. I mean, it's a very short little song. It's nice. I get it. I understand why it made the impact it made and why people remember it. It's all right. And just the fact that the kid can't sing, I mean, he doesn't butcher it, I guess. Although, I mean, it's true. That pale moonlight line, that is pretty brutal. But yeah, short and to the point. Ooh, a gazebo. So here's the wowie. I mean, what can you do about the cats? I mean, you're mice. What can mice do about cats? You know, this isn't like protesting, like, you know, getting fairer wages or something. Like, the cats aren't your bosses. Freedom. Get it? They all say freedom too. Okay, yeah. So what is the plan? You talk a big game, but what can you actually do? All right. So once again, Fievel finds himself at the same event that his family's at, but because of the crowd, they can't see each other. So the invert the "are we mice or are we men" thing, but I don't really understand what that means. Do they mean men are weak? Everyone's like, oh, they're our natural predators. They're much bigger than us, stronger than us, faster than us. They could swallow us whole. What do you think, Honest John? Oh, is this where he gets that idea of like the mouse of Minsk? Whispering through a megaphone. That is kind of an interesting concept. Now he's on the podium and everything, but his family can't see him. Yeah, some woman with a big hat is in the way. There you go. The star of Hong Kong. Oh God, Asian mice. I'm afraid of how they're going to be depicted. I'm really afraid. I mean, all mice already have like the big buck teeth, so they can't do that, right? I mean, they're mice. So what is this, like an opium den? Professor Digitalis, Museum of the Weird and Bizarre. Nice. Ooh, an eyeball. That's pretty spooky for a kid's movie. And a brain? Wow. And it's not like a mouse eyeball, it's like a human eyeball. So what's going on here? Okay, I guess that's a Chinese mouse, maybe. Yeah, they're gonna start building. I'm pretty sure they're gonna build something, and it's inspired by Fievel talking about the Mouse of Minsk or whatever. I'm pretty sure. Let's see. It's a big key. Lie. Honest John. I vote for freedom. People like that. It's only 1885, but let's make America great again. Because that phrase never goes out of style. It'll be used for decades. Which brings the question: if it's been used for decades, what past greatness are they referring to? Every generation's referring to a different past greatness. Which seems to suggest that I guess people by now thought like America's like the worst it's ever been. I don't think so. But I don't live there, so. I'm just gonna hear more violin. I think it was Dad again. Yeah. So just every time he hears violin, his pants are down. That's kind of undignified. Wow, even though he already fell for this once again, he hears violin and it's just certain, he's sure that it has to be his father. You didn't learn your lesson the first time? I mean, it wasn't even a person playing violin, it was a record. Uh-oh, cockroaches are going to kill him. That's pretty dark. So, is he going to stumble onto some bad guy plot here? I don't know what's happening, but he's down like in the sewer. Because he heard violin. Oh god, some like eel. I mean, it's a Don Bluth movie. It's going to have some spooky, sort of creepy moments. And that was definitely, yeah, some sort of awful eel. Much scarier than a cat. No dogs allowed. The Mott Street Maulers. Ooh, it's gangs of New York now. Nice, I love it. That's a cat gang. Yeah, I don't think your father's playing violin for a gang of cats. Cats playing poker. All right, yeah. So the biggest one there, who looks like he has a mustache, that's Dom DeLuise. So even though those guys are bad guys, like he's not a bad guy. I'm surprised that it took them this long to get him into the movie. We get it. He's an idiot, huh? He doesn't know how to play cards. They're not playing rummy? Yeah, they're playing poker. I don't know how to play poker either, and I've literally played poker before, and I still didn't really know what I was doing. Like every time I play poker, someone explains the rules to me. I kind of get 50% of it, and then I just sort of muddle through, and then I go, years without playing again and forget. My mother knows all about poker. She watches like it on TV and stuff. I know my friend Orc knows all about poker, but I do not. That was one of the issues with. I really love the first James Bond movie that Daniel Craig was in, Casino Royale, but in that, changing it from the book, they make a big deal out of poker being like the main game. So like the poker that's going on in that game, like I can't follow it. I understand like what a good hand is, but right. So now we see that the guy that calls himself a rat with the fake nose is some sort of like tiny cat pretending to be a rat. I guess I don't know. You're not a rat here. I don't get it. Like, do people like rats or something? And if he's just doing a protection racket, like I just have all these questions of why the cat is pretending to be a rat. Because aren't the mice afraid of the cats and just would have to do what they say anyway? I don't know. Anyway. Oh, good, more terrible physical comedy with a Dom DeLuise character. Nice Steinberg piano there. So right now he's just like all the others, trying to get him, but at some point they're going to become friends because Dom DeLuise characters can't be bad guys. Wow, an 1885 roller skate. So he said about how unlucky he's been in a lot of ways, but here his good luck continues as he just narrowly escapes death over and over again. I guess that's what makes it exciting. And he still got his hat. Good job, Fievel. And they get you. All that only to get caught at the end. The whistle blows. The Kraken. Oh, secret weapon. And it will barbecue all the cats. Oh, I see. So the Star of Hong Kong is going to be departing for Hong Kong, and their idea is to use the secret weapon to scare and herd all the cats onto the boat so they'll be taken to Hong Kong. I thought they were just going to fry them. Which is justified, right? I mean, they're trying to kill you. You can use lethal force back. But I get it. It's just to scare them. It's a good plan. I'm sure it'll work perfectly. So, of course, they didn't kill Fievel. They lock him up for some reason, right? Wouldn't it be simpler just to kill him? Hell, there'd be no body, no questions. A cat could just eat him. But there he is in a little bird cage. Their prisoner. Maybe they've got plans for him. I'll shut up and find out. Here comes the best guard of all, Tiger, the Dom DeLuise cat. Oh, brilliant dialogue there. And now, of course, he shows that he's a good guy. So you lost your family, and you're lost in the streets of New York in a new town, and now an evil gang of cats have taken you hostage. Why are you upset? Please don't blow your nose on your tail. Don't do it. Okay, he's just sobbing into it. I was worried he was going to blow his nose. There's still time. You don't look like a tiger. Shouldn't you at least be a tabby to have the name Tiger? I mean, it wouldn't be very imaginative, but at least it would make more. I don't know. I guess I guess it's good. If it was a tabby, it would be too obvious. So for a cat that looks nothing like a tiger to be named Tiger, I get it. Tiger Woods doesn't look like a tiger. Tiger Williams doesn't look like a tiger. See, and we're trying to break down a stereotype here. It's like, I heard all cats were mean. He's got some real inner conflict going on here. He's a more complicated character than I gave him credit for. What? He's talking about butterflies? That's random even for an animated movie about mice. His favorite book is The Brothers Karamazov? Jesus, man. He is one well-educated. I mean, I get it. It's a Russian book, but Jesus, that is a long, complicated book that you expect when you hear about popular Russian literature. But then again, I guess there wasn't much else for him to read at the time. Oh, good. Dom DeLuise is singing a song. It's the last song in the movie, though. It's called A Duo. It's a team-up song. I get it. Because one thing I'll say about, the movie I prefer to this one, Secret of Nim, is like, as annoying as Dom DeLuise gets, he never does a song and dance number, for God's sake. That movie doesn't have any songs, thank goodness. This happens a lot in these movies, too. Two characters meet for the first time, and within 5 seconds, they're like, you know what, let's just be best friends, and we'll be like a pair, a team, from now on. Okay, now he's a lot smaller. Why is he so small? And now he's growing. Wow, this is like some weird trip. He was like hallucinating that he was mouse-sized. Interesting stylistic choice. So nothing better than Dom DeLuise and a kid who can't sing, singing a song. Once again, he's mouse-sized. Oh, that's awful. That is hard on the ears. Ugh. Oh, that's fucking terrible. The only good thing about this song is that it, like the others, it is short. Man, that was hard on the ears. Listen to those two harmonize. Fuck. Oh, the little bug sidekick. Is the bug sidekick? He's a lightning bug? He seemed to have like electricity coming off him. That's not how lightning bugs work, of course, but look who's talking. And the Grand Escape. Every cat in the joint's after him, though. It's a catastrophe. No one's ever used that pun. Okay, it's not in the movie, so. I'm just saying, that's kind of the level of dialogue we've come to expect from this movie. Wake up, listy woman has a plan. And I led them right to you, but never mind that. Alright, let's see the secret weapon. I bet you it's great. I think a kazoo really, like, delegitimizes anything you're trying to do. Wow, what a startling revelation. That jerk rat who we don't like is actually a cat, as if that makes any actual difference to the plot. Like, yeah, he's doing like a protection racket, you know. I'll make the cats lay off you if you pay me. So again, I don't get. The other cats are not financially motivated. They just want to kill mice because that's what cats do. Oh. He just told you he was a cat. But anyway. Okay, that actually is a good line. That's like the one clever line in the entire movie. What are you going to believe, me or your own eyes? Well, now that we realize what race you are, we can't do it. Like, again, I'm not sure what the message is here. We put up with you when you thought you were a stinking rat, but you're a cat? Go to hell. I would like to see a cat with a gold tooth. Come on, secret weapon time. I'm tired of waiting for it. Good job, Drunken John. Time to get crushed, John. Okay, your plan's going to shit here. Just do it so you stop saying it. Ugh. Oh, there's his family. They're part of it. So for the umpteenth time, Fievel is very close to his family, and they don't notice each other. I don't know. The cat's plan seemed better. Just burn down the place they're in. Well, they can't undo the human knots. Can't you chew through it? Like rats can chew through pretty much anything. Can't mice? I don't know. Anyway, Fievel used the amazing concept of burning the rope. So here we go. It's the Mouse of Minsk or whatever, which I'm sure all the cats in New York Harbor have heard of. Who hasn't heard of that Jewish Russian mouse folk tale? The animation here is pretty good. It looks good. Definitely stood up to anything Disney was doing at the time. Fireworks too. I mean, it's a boat from Hong Kong. I guess they probably had a lot of them. Even if their plan works, it's like, there's no cats in America. Well, there are cats in America. Oh, that's a drag. But there's 7 of them. Just like 7. Because that seems pretty manageable, actually. Yeah, they even wrote the Mouse of Minsk on the side, just so, I don't know, people would know, I guess. But it's working. It's herding them towards the boat. Wow, they have parachutes packed and everything. This is a pretty elaborate plan. Okay, there's more than 7, but still, I mean, less than 20. Oh, I say less than 20, and suddenly they just multiplied them. That was weird. First, it just looked like there was a handful of them. Then they doubled it. Then they, doubled it again. They can't swim. They're totally going to drown. Woo! Hooray for Philly. And, of course, Philly, that name means nothing to Fievel's father and daughter. Ah, now our song actually works. Philly, I don't know. He's probably some amazing American mouse. That'll catch on. And your little dog, too. We get it. And because it's not that kind of movie, the cats survive. So they can go to Hong Kong. So that's not so bad. They're going from one great city to another. It's a long ride, though. They're China's problem now. But at least there wasn't any dreadful Chinese stereotype that I was maybe expecting. Okay, well, there can't be much left. All that needs to be done now is to reunite with his family. Oh, I see. There's going to be a fire. One last dramatic situation. The children. Won't somebody think of the children? I really need to look at the camera a lot because whenever I look at them, I don't like how I look in profile on this. So I always try to angle the camera so that even when I'm looking at the screen, I'm more front on. Ah, it's such a big fire. Even the human fire department's here. Wait. He's like, screw it. So it's another Mousekewitz. Who gives a shit? Their father is clearly too old to have such young children. He's like 75 years old in mouse years or something. He's got like a white beard and he's gasping for breath. I mean, Jesus. I mean, I don't know. I know some people, they like go gray a lot earlier and even white. It's weird. I'm not going to see gray in my beard for a long time. Hell, some people put gray into the beards to make themselves look more distinguished. I don't know, man. Ah, the hat. And there's the mother, who's been off screen for most of this, but she's back. Who's looking after the baby? They had a baby, right? We have to save our precious peer. Almost feels like this is the type of thing that the fire department would just let go. Well, it's a dock. It'll burn and fall into the water at the end. But no. Literally a place called Orphan Alley. I'm sure this is going to be cheerful. Ah, this is finally a scene I remember. They kind of remind you of like Alvin, Simon, and Theodore from the Chipmunks, only like in mouse form and mean. He's looking for his family. Let's bully him mercilessly. We used to look for our families too, but that's lame. Oh man, you guys are gonna like not just forget about beating him up. Let's devastate him emotionally. It's like your family's gone and they don't give a shit about you. Wow, he believes it. He's like, well, you're saying they don't care? Then wow, this is not the reaction you expect. You guys are really nihilistic. Welcome to Orphan Alley. We're all trash here. Just like that, his spirit's like completely broken. They did a number on him. It's like, yeah, I'll just sit in the mud. Find them again? You didn't find them the first time. Okay, well, you're really giving into. He's moving past the despair event horizon here. Jesus. Oh, Fievel's just been completely devastated emotionally. I thought we were past all that stuff. And they just bring it right back up. Fuck. Yeah, and I can I see why the movie's so memorable. Because just when you think things are like finally going to get better, they bring you back with another emotionally devastating scene. Because it's not just him who's suffering. There's a whole alley full of orphans sleeping in the rain. Man. I know I keep saying devastating, but it's the proper word. Finally, some cute birds. Some hopeful music. Of course, it's the Somewhere Out There theme. I know that. This would have ripped me apart like as a kid too, because it's weird. As an adult, I suffer from anxiety, but it's more like a sort of ho-hum, boring kind of anxiety where I like worry about things that probably don't even matter. Like, you make a big deal out of something, but the anxiety I had when I was like 11, 12 when it started was the anxiety of like taking on like the cares of the world around me, like things that do matter but didn't affect me directly. And it's the type of thing, we as humans, we develop coping. I mean, some people cope so well they don't give a shit about anything around them. But I mean, most people who are good, kind people that have empathy and sympathy for other human beings, still we're able to function. We hear about stuff that happened to people far away that we don't know, and we do feel something for them, but we're able to like not be affected too much. It's not the same as the people that we know, and it keeps us, and it's not cruelty or anything. It's just sort of a defense mechanism. Otherwise we'd all just be paralyzed. And I kind of had that when I was that age, where I would lay awake at night thinking about things exactly like this. I would think about like somebody lost on the street, whether it was a cat or a dog or a human. And I would think about, the things that you see on the news and hear about, like people starving in countries and places with war and all that. And again, that's all stuff it's real and you should be affected by it. But I was so affected by it, like I couldn't function at times. Like it would just run through my head over and over again and repeat. Now I just felt so powerless and terrible. And then then I would eventually apply some of these things to my own life. I'd be like, what if my parents die? Things like that. I mean, every kid thinks that at some point, the fear of like losing your family, and that's normal. But I mean, I had it to a point where, it would kind of paralyze me, and it really messed up my sleep. And yeah, this is when I was like first starting junior high, and I was kind of afraid of the school I was at. It's funny, because the anxiety I had as an adult is completely different from the anxiety I had back then. So I've had sort of two different bouts of it in my life at different times. It was much more dramatic when I was a kid. But there, boom, reunion. Oh, give Tony the... Oh, wow, she's horny. That's kind of... Yeah. Tony sucks, man. I don't like that he gets the girl. I mean, she's too old for Philo, but a better thing would have been she's just like, you're an idiot, Tony, and I don't need you. I'm an independent, modern woman. Hell, I don't even need that. She could go fall head over heels for somebody else, just not Tony, because he sucks. I learned that from a French pigeon. So even though it was really sad for a few minutes, he's back. He's reunited with his family. And he's made some friends too for his new life in America. I wonder why they go west. I'll just have to watch Fievel Goes West to find out. Oh, speaking of French pigeon, here he is. Wow, Fievel's parents really trust him. Oh, okay, they're up there with them. Okay. I didn't know the other pigeon was there too. I was just like, sure, you can take our young children flying across the harbor. But no, they're there with them. Let's have a good look at the statue. Some early 3D animation there as the statue is completed. It's not green yet, though. I was in New York. I saw the statue. Not from that very close, though. I saw it kind of far off. It's not something that ever really interests me much. Like, I don't need to take a tour or take the boat out to Ellis Island or whatever. But you can't deny it is a very striking image. Lady Liberty. A gift from the French. Okay, having it wink is a bit much, but sure. We can just say Fievel's hallucinating again, as he is wont to do. America is actually quite large. Although, that wouldn't be as surprising to a Russian, because Russia's fucking huge. Oh, so they're leaving the door open for the sequel. You'll see more of America. So, maybe that's why they'll go west, just to see. Not for any, like, compelling reason. So, yeah, one of the many stories about the American dream was from using mice. Why not? So yeah, it's nice to see it again after so many years. Like I knew things about it. I'd seen scenes, but it had forever since I saw it start to finish. It still hasn't really changed anything. Like I see it as okay. I definitely like Land Before Time, and once again the pause while I try to remember Secret of Nim way more. But I can understand why this was popular and did well, and I'm glad it did. It helped, Bluth Studio get going. It also helped whip Disney into shape. So it definitely had a good effect. It got Spielberg into animation. He made his own animation studio Amblimation or whatever after this, which produced some okay stuff and probably helped spur his interest in the Who Framed Roger Rabbit movie, which again was a big deal for animation in general, but also sort of brought back like a renewed interest in the golden age of animation. You know, for decades, people thought like Disney had its gold, you know, there's a golden age, a silver age, and almost sort of a dark age, kind of mirroring comics in a way, and then a renaissance starting. I mean, a lot of people say that Little Mermaid's the start. It started a little earlier than that, but Little Mermaid was sort of like the announcement of its arrival. Because this movie would have been the most successful animated movie of the decade, except a couple years later, Little Mermaid came out and surpassed it. But still, it outperformed all the other Disney movies of the decade, which is pretty impressive. Somewhere Out There is performed by Linda Ronstadt and James Ingram. Let's hear it. I mean, it is nice to hear it with people that can actually sing. Now that's how you say Pale Moonlight. This seems to predate Disney doing that too, right? Because like that would become like a staple of the Disney movies, is like when the end credits would play, you might have some like pop singers of the day doing it, like they did with Beauty and the Beast, right? They did it with like I don't know, but yeah, they did it with Beauty and the Beast. They did it with for the song Beauty and the Beast. They did it for the song it's the Aladdin one, A Whole New World. Yeah, they did it a few times where they'd have the end credits have like a different version of the song done by like pop singers. I know that Celine Dion did one of them, but this is before that. I think this is before Disney started doing it. I could be wrong. I'll have to check on that. I know the name James Ingram. I don't know what he's done, but I know I'd know him if I heard a song of his. Obviously, I know Linda Ronstadt. It was a bigger deal in the 70s, but still, you know. I mean, Disney would get some of these pop stars to even write the things, like, you know, Elton John doing the music for Lion King, which is actually a big deal for his career, too. You know, I recently rewatched the Rocket Man movie, and I was a little disappointed that the movie only really goes up to about 1983. It kind of ends with the album that had I'm Still Standing on it, and then the rest is just all there in an epilogue. But I mean, the fact is, like, he didn't just turn his life around right there. He still struggled for a few more years, and even once he became sober, he was still having trouble as far as like not having the musical success he had, and it was kind of a big deal to do that soundtrack. I think it helped not re-legitimize him. He was Elton John. He wasn't, you know, but I mean, it was a big successful thing. But anyway, and it doesn't always work out either, because Tarzan had Phil Collins do the music, and I don't got nothing against Phil Collins, but I think it's really bad soundtrack. I don't like it at all, any of that. And that was, of course, the end of the 90s as the Renaissance sort of died down. Tarzan's not very good. But there you go. Don Bluth there, all the way through. Oh, there, ending with the Amblin thing, right? Amblin? Yeah. The E.T. thing. So, it's good to watch it again after so many years. I always like talking animation, even though I've never been a big fan of this movie, and watching it again has not made me a big fan, but I get why it, you know, it resonates. I get how it hit people emotionally. I mean, to the extent it's kind of brutal, really, but it all ends well. So that seemed to be the rule. Then you can make things as sad as you want, as long as you just tie it up and make it happy at the end. So, okay, well done, Don Bluth. And you know, his '80s output, I think, is very good, and then the '90s it really start to plummet. Although there's still some stuff in there, like the Anastasia movie, which ironically now Disney, I guess, owns the rights to, because you can watch it on Disney Plus. And maybe that's one we'll do at some point here. It's got the Russia angle to tie it into American Tail. But yeah, so we'll just stop here. There's no point in doing a big aftermath thing. I did a bit of an intro, but yeah, I just felt the need to sort of get on camera again. Hopefully this didn't play too badly. If it did, I will delete it. But if it's okay, we'll keep it. And again, break up all these Halloween horror movies that I've been watching in the lead up to Halloween. I have not really been enjoying that the way I used to. Maybe it's because Wednesday's not here with me anymore. She passed away at the end of August, for those who don't know. I had her for 16 years, so that's been very difficult to adjust to. Because I mean, I know other people obviously have pets and they love their pets, and I would never say anybody loves a pet any less than I do or anything, but I don't think a lot of people can really relate to this sort of thing unless like they've lived alone for like over a decade and the only one who lived with them was the pet. Like most of the people I know, they've got family or that they're living with. So when they lose a pet, it's more like a group loss. Now, obviously, my family, my mother, sister, and father are all affected by the loss of Wednesday, but they didn't live with her day to day. They only saw her every once in a while. Where for me, she was with me every day. So, I mean, she was 16. It's a very good run. And, very lucky to have had her for so many years. But it's just hard, every time I'm out, knowing that when I return, I'm just coming back to an empty apartment. It's been tough. But anyway, so Halloween has not felt as fun or anything, but I'm still working through the movies. There's still some good movies, and we're getting close. So the closer I get to Halloween, the better the movies are. Like for me, the ones like I start in October with like lesser ones, and then as the closer I get are the ones. And of course, speaking of sad, every Devil's Night, of course, I'll watch The Crow, which is one of my favorite movies anyway, but also very sad. Oh my God, it's like a sad movie. And then the fact that Brandon Lee died making it, and somebody just recently died the same way, which is, when I saw Brandon Lee, trending because of that a few days ago, I was like, this is weird. Like, it's not Devil's Night yet. Why is Brandon Lee trending? Then you find out somebody died in kind of the exact same way. And of course, it's also sad because James O'Barr, who wrote the comic that the movie was based on, wrote the comic as a way to cope with the death of his fiance, who was killed by a drunk driver. So it's just, it's so sad, but I always watch it and enjoy it. But a couple more days before that. So anyway, thanks a lot for anybody that's checking this out later on. I know, again, not much fanfare on the channel about these sort of solo ones, but I really like talking about animation. So that's why I'm doing it. So I'm not sure what I'll do next. Probably won't be a Don Bluth one. It'll probably be something different. And if anybody has ideas or suggestions or something they'd like to see, you can certainly let me know. So that'll do it for tonight. So thanks a lot, guys. Happy Halloween and Devil's Night and everything. And we'll see you again soon. Peace out. I did that wrong, as you can see. It's been so long. All I did was exit the studio. I didn't stop the broadcast. Okay, bye, guys. Ending the broadcast. Oh, my God. See ya.